And welcome back to episode 151 of the Weekly Tech Run with me, Jay. I have no idea. The music just stops. What is going on here? Gremlins. I tell you, this soundboard is... I'm just going to have to go, I tell you. But we
Let's
are
move
back.
this to the Stream Deck. Separate it out from your actual PC.
Oh my God, I don't know what is going on today. Hello, we are back for our first episode of December 2023, and we're racing to the finish now, isn't it? It's nearly the year.
It's nearly over.
Nearly over. I can't believe that. I can't believe it's the 1st of December, let alone, where we are.
I can. I went to our local shopping centre this morning and bought lots of stuff for Christmas, and now, yeah.
You are a crazy man.
Oh, no, there's a reason online's better.
Yeah, you are. Crazy man. I tell you, I ventured into our local shopping centre a couple of Saturdays ago with the kids, and it was like the ninth circle of hell.
It was not fun.
Yeah, not fun at all. Well, we are back to give you a little bit of light dose of non-Christmas tech stories. We got a little roundup this week of we've got Meta, we've got Ikea, we've got Adobe, we've got AWS, Google Drive, and Microsoft. We're a little light on rumors this week, but hopefully next week when we return, there may be some end of year treats, and we will be heading into the end of the year as well. With our typical story, we have our end of year showdown where we look back on all of the tech that we've kind of looking forward to, and obviously any of the tech that we're hoping to get for Christmas. If Santa decides to, deliver us some tech instead of coal, eh?
Yeah, that list got a little longer this morning when I wandered into the Lego store.
Yeah, don't stop, man! Stop. But we will give you heads up on that towards the next couple of weeks as we come into the end of the year show. But first then, let's talk about Meta then. And again, more controversy, more scrutiny from Meta regarding privacy law in the EU. So
yes,
they are just not capable, are they, of keeping the EU on side?
No.
They do.
So obviously the EU's brought out this new privacy law, and it's all about allowing people to opt out of personalized ads, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can still receive generic ads, but you have to have the ability to say, stop targeting me with personalized stuff, So Facebook, Instagram, their owner Meta, have decided they're going to try and work their way around this and make some money at the same time, haven't they? So basically, now when you launch the app, so it's Facebook or Instagram, you kind of get three options, really. Agree to receive these targeted ads, sign up for a €10 per month per app subscription not to see the ads, or just stop using the apps.
Oh, yes, because that's what you're going to do, isn't it? Option 3, you're going to be like, oh, ads? I'm not using Instagram or whatever it is anymore. No, because it's like a drug, isn't it? And people are addicted. And I know that's not fair. I appreciate not everybody is, but most people go on there for the dopamine hit.
They do. Yeah, exactly. So, they kind of stack the cards in their favor. And somebody says, you know what, I don't want these targeted ads. And they're going to pay the potentially €20 a month, €240 a year to use the two apps. And that's if you buy it on their website. If you do this via any of the app stores, there's another 30% of that. So what, €13 each?
But what about, at the moment, okay, Threads isn't here, but is this going to affect Threads? Because Threads is due to launch in Europe soon, isn't it? It's rumoured.
I imagine so. I think they were probably getting that all sorted out before they launched Threads, I imagine.
How do we... Let's make a mistake everywhere else first before we come in and all that,
Yeah, that's it. So, but part of the story we're going to say is there's an Austrian privacy group who've said, nah, this isn't on. What are they called? Nope.
Nope. NOYB, isn't it?
NOYB, yeah. So they filed a complaint with Meta. They filed a complaint with the EU that Meta's actions basically cause financial distress to their clients. Basically saying subscription prices out of proportion to the value Facebook receives, and they're using Facebook's own data to say that the revenue per user per year is around €62, is what Meta puts the value of a user at. So how can you then charge up to over 260 odd euros if a user doesn't want that targeted advertising?
That's crazy, isn't it? If they're saying, let's say the average revenue is about 62
euros
roughly €63 per person per year.
Yeah.
Then they're just basically getting double the amount, aren't they?
Well, that's if you only use one app.
Yeah. but like I say, if you go to the full amount and you're looking at roughly €250, I mean, that is just a joke. It's
It
just
is.
it's Meta basically going, well, you know what? Screw you, EU. We'll cream it off the top of the users then, because that's the only way we're going to make viable.
This is going to end badly for
It
Meta.
will end badly.
I mean, 'cause
Absolutely, will end badly.
especially the way they've done it. If they'd put, right, we value a user at €63, so let's divide that by 12, regardless of which apps you have, and we'll just, there you go. And you don't see the ads. I think they could probably get away with that, because I mean, the European courts have stated that any fee charged to avoid tracking on products must be necessary and appropriate. And also says that consent must be freely given. I mean, I'd argue that it's freely given, whether it's take it, pay money, or don't use the product. But they'd have a better chance if they'd actually just tried to recoup what they would lose or perceived loss from the user, not to then try and get more money out of it.
Yeah, and again, I think Noib. I'm going to go with Noib.
Noib?
Noib. They are saying that what they're seeing here is a domino effect in the industry, aren't they, as well? With
Yeah.
a TikTok now with their ad free subscription, which is outside, not in the US, but outside the US.
Yeah.
They suspect other apps will come along, and what they're kind of saying is that they'll end up with a tier 2 approach, won't you? If you have money and you can afford it, you get the best experience. But if you're lower income, or you don't have disposable income, then sorry, you're gonna become the product again, aren't you, for advertising?
I would probably argue that wasn't the best example, because isn't that generally how life plays out?
Well, yes,
If
probably
you've got
it
the
is.
money, you buy the Rolls Royce and you fly the private jet. If you don't, you're on EasyJet or Ryanair.
Yeah, true, but I guess thing, isn't it? But it's going to be even more, isn't it, with these
Yeah,
applications?
of
Given
course.
given that you don't pay anything, I suppose the argument that we've talked about before is you aren't paying to use Facebook. You're not paying to use Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever we call it this
No.
week. We're though there is only the reason that you will be able to use those services is because you are ultimately the revenue source.
Yeah,
Because
they're
the
selling all your
advertising
data.
Yeah, but no, this is quite laughable for Meta. But again, it's nothing we've become.
Did you expect anything less?
No, nothing at all. I did see there was a related story though. When I was doing the research on that,
Yeah.
which was just underneath it. I don't know if you saw, it was Meta suing the FTC in the US to prevent them from revisiting the $5 billion privacy settlement that was handed out in 2020.
Right.
Which is around the fact that they were you might recall they were monetizing data from children, weren't they?
Oh, they were, yes, yeah.
And the FTC said, the federal judge ruled on them, and it was a $5 billion settlement that happened 3 years ago. Well, apparently the FTC went back to court to ask a federal judge to see whether or not they could expand on that settlement, allowing them to propose new legislation on how Facebook, or Meta, can operate. And this because of this gets better, the whole Cambridge Analytica situation.
Oh, that old chestnut, yeah.
Yeah, so that's come back round again, and apparently this federal judge has said yes, that the FTC can expand on that settlement. So Meta have countersued to say, whoa, no, we agreed on a privacy settlement. We didn't talk about anything else. So wait for that one to come out. Basically, the FTC says that Meta has repeatedly violated the terms of that agreement in 2020 regarding user privacy, and the company has violated the COPPA Act, which is the Children Online Privacy Protection Act, by monetizing the data of younger users.
Well, let's hope they get a good slap.
Yeah, I was going to say, keep an eye out for that one to come back round. So, moving from Meta then, let's talk about Ikea with talking of things we would want to buy. Well, they've just come out with a brand new range of smart home sensors, haven't they? Focusing on particularly on safety and leak detection or water damage, haven't they? So these are what they call the parasol door and window sensor, which can be mounted pretty much anywhere of one of those two areas, isn't it? And you can have that notification if the door or window is opened. And that alongside it, there's the Valhorn wireless motion sensor, which activates lights or when movement is detected, and you can decide on what color, how bright it is, and it also can be paired with IKEA smart bulbs. I think up to 10 of them as well.
Okay.
And then the final one is I love this name, the Barding
Yeah, the
water
barding.
leak sensor,
So this is the one I
which
want.
is again there for any rogue water or leaking, that you have there. So and again can be paired to send you notifications or trigger alarms. Now all of these work with the what's it, the IKEA how do you pronounce that? Is it
I didn't write it down because
Dirigula?
I won't be able to pronounce it. We'll just call it the
Dirigula
IKEA
hub, is
hub,
it?
the
Yeah,
V2.
which is replaces the old Tradfri gateway, isn't it? So
Yeah,
this is a
it
new,
does.
basically digital hub, isn't it?
It is, but it will work with any Zigbee device. So if you're using Home Assistant like we are, and we've got a Zigbee adapter, you'll be able to pair it to that too.
Yeah, so they're not available in the US, but they are available in Europe. Now, I'll be honest with you, I haven't checked. Are they available in the UK yet?
I haven't looked, but I need to go to Ikea and buy some because they're all under €10,
It's
which is a
awesome.
steal.
It is an absolute steal. I personally will be getting. I mean, I think the door and window sensors would be fantastic. The amount of times my kids leave the back doors open, to the garden, especially in the winter, and you're like, "Where's the draft?" Now to
Oh
have like
yeah.
a notification would be like, "Oi, shut the door."
Well, that's it.
Um,
I bought a load of the Xiaomi Aquara ones,
yeah, that's right. You did,
but
yeah.
they're £15 or £20 each. So I haven't done everything. But if I can get in for like £6 or £7, then I'm going to finish the rest of the downstairs windows because you're right, they're always leaving stuff open.
Yeah, definitely. But I also think it'd be useful to have them from a security perspective as well, isn't
Well,
it?
that's right. I tie it into my alarm system, so that's mainly
Yeah.
what it is. But if, for example, they've left the patio doors open for more than 5 minutes, Home Assistant shuts down the central heating in the house because we're just letting heat go straight out.
And the other one is the wireless sensor, which can be tied into lights. So I'm thinking of, I've got some of these, Blink cameras that that
Yes.
I've got here, but I'm thinking of changing it to, was it oh, what's the name?
Oh, TP
Tapo.
Link,
Tapo,
Tapo.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Tapo, yeah. So I was thinking about looking one of them, but and pairing it with one of the outside floodlights. But
Yeah.
having one of these as the motion detector as well, just to turn the light on as opposed to the camera, would be quite useful.
Yeah.
I did just double check with IKEA. I gave them a call. No, I'm joking.
You
The
got someone on the other end of the phone?
Yeah, Parasol and Valhorn will be available in January 24, and the Barding will be in April 24. So that's why
I'll be taking a trip to the old IKEA then to buy a load of those. I've got a lot of
definitely
windows
will be.
downstairs.
Yeah, I think I will be there, so they'll be getting a lot of money else. But I'm going to have to buy. Do we need the hub though? Sorry, or do we not need the
No,
hub?
it's Zigbee. So you just took it up to yours, the same Zigbee adapter you're using for your Hue bulbs.
Ah, superb. That's perfect. I must do that. Okay, that's the good thing. I need to reset some of my temperature sensors as well because
Yeah.
they have stopped sending temperature.
Well, yeah, you don't have enough routers, do you? You don't have
No,
that many
I need
Hue
to add
light
another one
switches
in.
or
Yeah,
other stuff like that. So yeah,
I know it's my own fault. It's my own
let's
fault.
see if
But yeah,
IKEA have got some of their routers, their plug-in boosters in stock, and
that
grab
might
some
be
of those.
worth doing. Definitely, definitely. Okay, so let's talk about our friends over at the CMA then and Adobe because they are playing slapdown again, aren't they, on another merger?
Yes, they are. So Adobe, recently was in the middle of acquiring Figma for $20 billion.
And what just remind our listeners that if they've not heard of Figma, what does Figma do?
I'm not entirely sure. They're a
Okay.
creative software. I've done my due diligence here, clearly.
That's okay. I'll joke. I'll take that segue. So Figma is a design tool primarily used for designing UIs. So if
That's
you're
it. Yeah.
building like a mobile app or something, you can create all of the UI infrastructure elements in Figma, which will then allow you to design that in your app as well. So yeah, basically it is a design tool used by many companies. Their list of companies and apps is quite long and extensive and very popular names. So you can see why Adobe want to buy them, can't you? So
Yeah. So the CMA, they have completed an in-depth investigation. They're saying, and basically provisionally determined that the deal would harm the product design software market, and they basically blocked the deal until their competitive concerns are addressed. The CMA says that basically the possible remedies they're happy with, will consider, include basically blocking the merger completely, or the divestiture of overlapping operations in each market they deal could cause a substantial lessening of competition. Basically, stop selling Photoshop and ilk, or stop selling Figma. Either way, it's not a great result for Adobe.
no, and again, I don't agree with this because this market is just about to be upended by AI. There is an AI app called UI Zard, which
Right.
basically allows you to take a screenshot or mock-up. Take it basically, it will generate mock-ups from text prompts. You can use screenshots of an application or website, or you can drag and drop comments, and AI does it. So basically, what you do in Figma, you can do through UI app, and there are
Okay.
plenty of other apps on here as well. I really don't believe that by them buying one is going to upend the market. And have you used Adobe Express yet, by the way? The UI. So
No.
that's their new AI tool. So it's a mobile app.
Oh, I did. I used it. I used the online version of it.
Yeah, yeah, it's really good. I used it to create a birthday flyer for my
Oh, I
son's
know. I
birthday
used it
party.
to. I went to the zoo with the kids over the summer. I took a really good photo of a chameleon, but there was a little branch in the way, so I got it to remove the branch for me,
Exactly.
and
So
it's brilliant.
so when you can do all this stuff anyway, there are plenty of other tools. I don't see how Adobe buying Figma is going to upend the whole software market. Yeah, they're a market leader, but it's not really going to destroy the market, is it? To be fair,
No, it's not. No, no, not at all.
it just again stinks of the CMA not doing quite a little bit more. Everything. Um, And I wouldn't necessarily say that Figma is a threat to Photoshop, would you, or Illustrator? Really? Really?
It's a bit different. They do. Well, according to the document, they did start making their own software to compete with Figma, but then abandoned it and bought Figma instead.
Well, yeah, but that's what you do, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
what you do. You basically, well, they're doing a much better job with us. We'll just acquire them because actually we could blow millions of dollars in R&D,
yeah.
and actually these guys have licked it already. That's look, we work in security, and that is how our industry operates all the time, isn't it?
Of
You
course
know,
it is.
you see a company that's building up an application or whatever or service, and you're like, actually, that's really good. We could
Yeah,
either blow, how many years trying to make it, or actually, you know what, we'll acquire
yeah.
you. Fancy some more money?
Yeah. Was it called acquihire? Yeah, there's a term for it, isn't it? Where you're just
Yeah,
buying them for the product.
yeah, exactly. So I. I know, clearly Figma want to be bought. I don't see this as a Figma sort of, going, no, we don't want to.
Yeah,
I mean, and Adobe's not short of cash because, good God, the cost of photo. Well, it's not Photoshop; it's Creative Cloud, isn't it?
it's
The
Creative
cost of
Cloud. Yeah.
Creative Cloud, and that's a subscription service now as well, isn't it? Which, I mean, it's just raking in money hand over fist.
Yep.
I remember the days when Photoshop used to come. No, what did they call it before Creative Cloud? Because you used to get the whole set, didn't you? And a set of DVDs. One would be Photoshop. One was
Oh, it was
I
something
can't. I
sweet,
can't.
wasn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, but I remember I worked in an education setting, and obviously we got it at educational pricing,
Oh,
and
nice.
I used to have a copy because we had a license for X number of machines,
Yeah.
more than we had in the art department and all that jazz, all the
Gotcha.
design labs. So yeah, I used to have a copy of the whole suite, CS, wasn't it? It was CS suite, wasn't it? The whole
Yeah.
creative suite. I used to have a whole copy of that on my PC, the IT room. Couldn't use half
Oh,
the software, but it was
yeah,
great
didn't have to
fun.
use it, but I had it.
Yeah, exactly. So this is here. So the CMA then is finding was it they've got I think what was it, the 19th of December, is it, to
Yeah.
respond to the
It's
findings
this
of
month. Yeah.
February next year. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens here. I suspect given the way the CMA at the moment and they've let Microsoft get away with this, they probably won't want to let anybody else get away
No.
with it.
Microsoft just got through, so yeah. And they say the options they've given Adobe are not great, are they?
No, no, not at
Don't
all.
buy it or stop selling Illustrator or Photoshop. Just
No.
yeah, both. No, no.
Yeah, that is. I don't. They're like Adobe. Like I don't see the options.
Yeah, there aren't really any options here, are there?
They're in black and white on the paper. No, no, you don't understand. There are no options there.
Neither are an option.
Oh, good God. Crazy, crazy times.
Yeah.
So then, moving across to AWS, excuse me,
AWS, yeah.
and their Graviton 4 and Trainium. What a great word.
Trainium, yeah, yeah.
What am I talking about here then?
So AWS had their reinvent
Reinvent.
the other week, didn't they? So yeah, these are their new processors and AI accelerator cards they've released. You're not something you can go and buy and put in your own PC or anything. They're only for use on AWS cloud. But yes, it's Graviton 4. Obviously, this is the fourth iteration of it. They've been doing this since I think 2018. But they're all based on ARM. Okay, so apparently Graviton currently has 50,000 plus customers across 150 different instance types. But yeah, Graviton 4 is going to. Now I'm going to say Amazon have been like Apple here, and they're not actually giving us any figures. They're all percentage increase better than something else. So they're saying 30% boost in compute performance, 50% higher core density, and 75% more memory bandwidth compared to Graviton 3. So I mean, at least they've compared it to the previous model, which
Yeah.
Apple usually doesn't do.
And they are, I mean, they're designed purely for, as you say, one purpose, which is the AWS cloud, isn't it? So it's not, this
Yeah.
isn't like you say that, purpose off the shelf, you can buy this in 12 months' time. No,
Yeah.
they have one role in life, which is really to build AI models, I'm guessing at LLMs and other similar situations
Yeah.
on the AWS cloud. And because of the way that these models work, these chips are designed to work with high performance workloads. So that's databases, lots of caching, isn't it? Lots of data crunching, and chewing through a lot of RAM as
Yeah,
well.
anything that needs massively parallel workloads. I mean, these are these I wouldn't mind one on my desktop. They've apparently got 96 ARM design Neoverse V2 cores, each with 2 meg L2 cache. They didn't say how much memory or RAM it can actually take, but they did say it's got 12 channels of DDR5 memory in it, so it's using fairly current tech. But I imagine we're talking terabytes of RAM here.
Well, given that they apparently the Trainium twos are going to be available in bundles of 16.
Oh, yeah, the Trainium 2s, yeah. So that is their pure AI accelerator card, isn't it?
I
For
mean, that one. I was just looking at
LMs,
that one.
yeah.
But yeah. So the
Yeah.
the, the
Beginning
Graviton,
at a bundles of 16, isn't it?
I'd say the Graviton they're a beefy chip, but then like I say, if you move to talk about the Trainiums now, I mean, good God, this is just taking it to a whole new level, isn't it?
Yeah, so literally 4 times faster than the training performance than its predecessor, while boasting 3 times the memory capacity and 2 times better efficiency. But as you said, yeah, minimum bundle of 16 of these on a Amazon EC2 TRN2 instance, but
I
it
guess you don't
can
need Trainium.
scale up to 100,000 accelerators.
And what was that? 65
Yeah,
exaflops, if I've read that
65
correctly.
exaflops of peak performance. Again, they haven't said whether that's FP16, FP32, FP8, or what precision that performance is to. So still a lot of unanswered questions, but I thought it'd just be interesting to talk a little bit about it because it's something a bit different from your traditional Intel AMD CPU.
Yeah, and I think this is where ARM really have a sweet spot, isn't it? And their architecture lends itself very well to these kind of workloads, and they have done for a while. And I think, given the increase in AI workloads, especially like say with these Trainium chips, they really are purely designed for LLMs. Um, I mean, one of the things that Amazon said, didn't they, that they said they could with these with 650 exaflops
Yeah, 65
and
exaflops. Yep.
65 exaflops. Each accelerator was 650 teraflops. They reckon, wasn't it, that at that scale you could train a 300 billion parameter LLM in weeks, according to AWS.
Yeah, that's a
We are,
lot of parameters. I don't know what
we,
ChatGPT uses, but nowhere near that, I don't think.
I don't think it is it? And now you've
No.
said it, I'm gonna have to look it up. ChatGPT parameters. Um, I would say we are on the cusp of a well, I wouldn't say AI revolution. That's not what I mean. But in terms of, I mean, the next step of now availability in hardware, isn't it?
The problem is
Yeah.
that we need to get that power usage down. It's suddenly it's like Bitcoin, isn't it? Like the mining, it uses so much energy and so many graphics cards for acceleration and stuff like that. That we need to work on bringing that power usage down.
That's the main issue. You're right. Um, I read the other day that they are using the same power as a small country.
Yeah,
It's
that would not surprise me.
though so interestingly, ChatGPT version 4 is 20 billion.
How is
Uh,
it?
20 billion parameters down from 175 billion parameters of GPT-3.
Okay, so done a lot of tuning on that then.
Yeah, I think that's the difference, isn't it? It's more tuning. Last year when they initially released, was it? I think want to say version 2. It was trained on 570 gig of data sets.
Wow.
Yeah, and that jumped. That jumped to, I think they're saying, into terabyte status now. I don't think they've released how big the data set is now, but we know it's big enough. He's got access to the internet now, isn't it? So
Well, yeah, exactly. Has to be.
it's Skynet. Sorry, that slipped out.
We love you, Skynet.
We love you. But yeah, so back to trains then. So also out of that announcement was it that NVIDIA's AI software suite will be fully supported on this hardware infrastructure from AWS. So
Yeah,
NVIDIA are getting in on the action still, aren't they?
Big Why not? Pair that Graviton 4 and the Trainium 2 with some NVIDIA H200s or whatever they are, and it's going to be pretty beefy server.
They are, and you don't forget. I mean, that is how NVIDIA is $1 trillion stock.
Yeah, it's not your consumer gaming graphics cards. It's that's a rounding error, isn't it, for them nowadays?
It is. They make graphics cards for the fun of it, I think, rather than anything else.
I don't know. You've seen the prices of them.
Yeah, well, yeah. Tell me about that. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So then, moving slightly on to a slightly different story. Then, so we are users of Google Drive, aren't we, or Workspace, I should say.
Hostages is the word.
Hostages of it. I'm not going to say why or what we use it for, but yeah, we use Google Drive. It turns out, though, some users have had a bit of a dodgy experience recently, haven't they, on Windows?
Yeah, they are. Google Drive is apparently losing people's data, which is not great for.
That's not the statement you want to hear, is it? Like,
not really. So yeah, multiple users on Google's forums basically claiming it's lost their files. So one user's claimed that months of Drive data saying disappeared, and basically their files went all the way back to May 2023 state. A few others have basically got the same issue. One of the worst ones was saying this is going to cause him major issues if you can't get the files back. It's all his work for the last 2 years. His business work, personal files, everything's just vanished. Hundreds of thousands of files are basically gone. So Google have not so much said it's a problem, but they are investigating sync issues for Google Drive for desktop. It hasn't specified whether that actually was. No, it's Mac and Windows. It's not just Windows.
It's Mac. Oh no, I thought it was a Windows one as well.
Sorry. No, it's a Mac and Windows. So yeah, they are investigating, and they have put a number of things you should and shouldn't do with Google Drive at this moment if you value your data. So do not click disconnect account within Drive for desktop. Do not delete or move the app data folder, no, given the path to Windows and Mac OS. And optionally, if you have room on your hard drive, we recommend basically making a copy of the app data folder. So back up your data somewhere else because we can't guarantee it will still be there.
Remember, kids, the cloud is just somebody else's data center, isn't it?
And depending on how you're using Google Drive, it's not necessarily a backup. I mean, it's not a backup anyway. I think there are two ways of doing it, aren't there? There's a mirror, which basically just copies your data from your drive up to the cloud and down again. So at least you've got two copies, one in the cloud or one on your machine. The other one is file stream, and that's what we are forced to use. Yeah. It basically keeps it all in the cloud and gives you shortcuts on your desktop, which when you click it, just downloads and opens that for you. But basically, it's always kept in the cloud.
This is remember what we're told. Move to the cloud. The cloud is awesome. The cloud.
You have one job, Google Drive, one job, and you've failed.
It is, but this is the thing about why having, if you're running sensitive data, it is always good to have multiple backup resources, and that may be another cloud, that may be physical. But yeah, definitely my recommendation would be, if you can, back it up somewhere else, because you just don't know, do you?
No, you don't. No. Get a decent backup strategy, and Google Drive is not a backup strategy. And neither is RAID. Just going to put that one out there. That's not a backup strategy either.
No, that's just an infrastructure choice.
Yeah, it's not a backup.
No, it is not a backup at all. Awesome then. So final story, actually I've got one more I'm going to sneak in, but a final story I want to talk about is a story that's come out on 95Mac, which is saying that it's likely that Microsoft could be one of the first third-party app stores that shows up on the iOS ecosystem.
Yeah.
So following on from the European Digital Markets Act, obviously that is going to ensure that Apple complies to the rules, in that they will have to allow third-party app stores. Now, at this point, we don't know how that's going to happen, do we?
Or how it's going to work. Yeah, we don't know a lot.
What we do know, though, is that Apple at some point must allow application developers to use third-party payment systems for any application that is sold in Europe, isn't it? And
Yeah.
any in-app purchases that are done. The grey area is whether or not they need to allow third-party app stores. Now, according to 9 to 5 Mac, and they haven't really given a solid source, have they? But they've said
No.
that they think that Apple has reluctantly, in their words, agreed to this. And they've got a bit of a quote from, or a bit of a statement from one of the people at Apple, who states that the work has been done by one of the senior vice presidents from Apple, who reports into Craig Federini, and that everybody basically from services is, to engineering is involved as well. Now, this doesn't have to be in place until the 6th of March 2024. Now, knowing Apple, will they push this out as an option, as a beta that will show up in a later version of iOS?
Well, it has to be out by, what
I
do we say,
can't see
2024. It has to be in iOS 17, doesn't it? It'll be a point release.
I can't see him doing it. I just, or if it
Well,
shows
what
up,
are the options? What's the fun?
Well, or will it be there as a beta option so you don't have to run it?
Maybe, but it's going to have to be in iOS 17.
Which then begs the question: is that code base already there?
I think we've already seen this in the past, that the kind of the frameworks. I mean, we already know most of the frameworks there because you can technically sideload. Well, you can sideload apps, and technically it's a third-party store if you're using an MDM software or UEM. Sorry.
Yeah,
For
we
what?
had that for
I'd call that a third-party store. I mean, it's very locked down and managed by your business, but it's a store you can go to and download and install applications. It works slightly differently from what a normal app store does, but the framework's there. They've allowed the side loading for quite a long time.
That is very true. We've been doing as well. We used to do that
Since
10
2010,
years ago.
2011, something around there. Yeah.
It's very different there, but I think the fact of doing like you have on Amazon, you have on Android, where you can have things like the Amazon store. Obviously, you've got the Play Store. I think there's a Meta Store, isn't there, of all these things you can have on there. It is there. We've talked about this at length before. I still think most people will not care, and they will stick to the App Store. That's my opinion.
I suppose it only depends if the app they can get is on the official store. You can see some people like Epic, Fortnite people. Obviously, they'll want to bring it back if they can. I can't remember where we are with that and them actually being allowed to put apps on the thing. But they'll want it in their store. They won't put it in the Apple Store.
No, that's right. That I think that's probably a really good use case and example. Epic will be all over this like a bad rash.
I can't remember if they've got a software license for iOS anymore or not, though.
That might be their problem then.
I can't remember if they've actually got. I can't remember. I'll have to look that one up because I can't remember what the current status is on that one.
But it is rumored that Microsoft may be one of the first in it, and like you could see them moving a lot of the Office apps into that, can't you?
Yeah.
Access into using I guess Word and the what's the other one? OneNote probably show anything that Microsoft have would probably be in a Microsoft app.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about Microsoft. I think Microsoft will actually work with Apple. They have in the past with all the Office suites. They've been on stage at Apple events, and they're not really a competitor. They don't sell a phone. They are, I suppose, in desktop, but in mobile, not really. So I think they'll work along with Apple. Yeah, I think that'll be a success, that one. But they'll keep it on the normal store.
Yeah, and I think if they wanted to consolidate all their apps in the same place, again, I wouldn't be too upset with that. I think you're right. The worry is when you have, and I know Apple's got things in place to safeguard, but the more unscrupulous developers around that may try and take advantage of this.
But do you still need an Apple developer license if you're then putting it on a third party store?
I
suspect you do.
I was going to say, no, in Apple, they're not going to. There's no way they're going to miss a trick on that.
I suspect you still need that license, so they can get rid of pesky software that way by revoking licenses.
But there will be people that will try and find ways around this, and
of course there will
find loopholes. We've seen it before, but look, it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. I just don't see. I heard another podcast that they were like, oh yeah, I bet you Apple will try and do a 2-tier system and that this won't happen in the US. I don't see Apple putting out 2 different versions of iOS. or iPadOS.
But then, is it two different versions, or is it just it's one version with a Switch, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But I think at some point it will become standardized because I think the US will wake up to this as well.
Yeah, they'll eventually get there, I imagine, but it might be a little delayed, and whether Apple will hold on to that extra profit while they can.
Well, I guess it's a bit like the whole SIM card situation, wasn't it? Where they, remove the SIM cards in a lot of the US models.
Yeah, I was expecting that to come over here by now, but it hasn't.
No, not at all. Well, there you go then. The last thing I want to mention is this wasn't in the show notes, so Carl's like, what's going on? Is that today Rockstar announced that the GTA 6 trailer not GTA 6, the trailer
For the next Grand Theft Auto game.
the next Grand Theft Auto will launch on Tuesday, December the 5th at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
That's 2 p.m. GMT.
And that is all we know.
I have blocked out in my calendar, my work calendar, because I will be watching it.
That's all we know. We don't know whether it's GTA 6, as you say. We just know that it's the next installment of, something.
Of something, yeah. It's potentially in Vice City.
I don't believe that this will be a 2024 launch, though.
No, maybe for Christmas, maybe just, but really? I suspect... I reckon they'd want to get it in there to get the money, but I suspect it'll be 2025.
If that's the case, the logistical secrecy has been immense because surely by now somebody somewhere would have leaked something.
Well, they did the whole game.
Yeah, but that wasn't. Though,
I mean, I know what you mean.
There would have been a box shot, wouldn't there? Or there would have been somebody would have leaked some marketing.
Yeah, no, sorry, not this Christmas, for 2024 Christmas, so a year away.
Oh yeah, I was going to say
a year. I suspect maybe a year from now, in time for Christmas 2024.
Well, yeah, because when did the GTA 5 was a September launch, wasn't it? I think.
Oh, was it? Yeah, I mean, I could still get that. I'm going to put a holiday request in now, please.
No worries.
I'm booking the extra week off.
Yeah, we'll let management know. Well, then, on that note, then, it's probably a good place for us to wrap up for today. Then we'll be back next week for episode 152 of the Weekly Tech Rant as we head towards the end of 2023. So, of course, you can find us on X/Twitter, whatever it's called this week. All of our show notes are found at techrun.online. And we, of course, are on wherever you get your podcast from. One of the things I'd just like to call out. We also had our Spotify for podcasters. Spotify Wrapped came out this week. We created 1,500 minutes of content in the last year, and we had a 57%.
Really, you've babbled that much?
We did, and we had a 57% increase in our listener base in the last. In the last year as well. So again, thank you to all of those new listeners that have joined us. Hopefully you want to stick around to hear more rubbish. But let us know your thoughts. Anyway, on that point, I've been Jay.
I've been Carl. Have a good evening, all.